Swati. Thank you so much for all the insights, Amanveen. How much do you think the MBA you did played a role in your career, and do you suggest other PhDs if they get an opportunity like that to go ahead and do such a one more degree, or what is your take on that?
Yeah, it depends on what you want to do, right? If you want to stay in research or R&D in the industry world, you may not need an MBA. But again, like this is something I've said even in my last session with Pies of Life, and for me, I did it because it was an opportunity for me. I did it because it was a scholarship program. I didn't have to kind of, pay for it, So I did it because I was like, okay, at the worst case, I can use this information. If I ever have a lab of my own, I'll use it there. That was my take. If you, is it going to help you? Of course. I mean, it's going to give you business acumen, it's going to help you understand companies. It's going to help you understand, what is finance? Like, what do they do? What is procurement? What is their job? How important is it? What's marketing? What's sales? What are strategies? How do you develop strategies? What are examples of that? So I think that is what it helped me understand in my journey, and that was sort of the initial kind of step, right? I have to tell you, there's a lot that I've learned on the job in all the jobs that I've been in, and if you take up roles, that's something that you should do. You should kind of expand your horizons and try to learn as much as possible on the job by taking various projects, working with different businesses, asking, putting yourself in situations where, you are uncomfortable, so that you can grow and learn. So that's what I've done. And I feel like I got so much from my MBA program and my experiences there. And then from there, whatever jobs I've done and whatever organizations I've been in, I've learned a lot on the job. I also do a lot of courses on the side. I'm sort of one of those curious ever learners. So I constantly am taking like Udemy courses or Coursera courses. I mean, those are super cheap. Try to find courses on Black Friday. You'll find MBA in a box for like $20. What I'm trying to tell you is that no, the traditional mindset of you absolutely need an MBA is definitely not the norm any longer, at least in my opinion and in my experience. I think people try to understand if you have the business acumen, if you have the business mindset, do you think about things? Do you understand the language that they're using? I think those are important aspects. And those are things you can get by reading, by, taking some of these courses and as well. So you don't have to flush out like another 100K for a program. You can find other sources to get that information. And the other thing that I remember from my prior session is that, it's not just having the knowledge, it's about being able to apply it. We do the same in research, right? What have we done in biology? We take what we've learned in the classroom and we bring it to the bench. How do you apply that knowledge to bench? And so it's the same thing. You're going to learn something in your courses. You're going to learn something through your reading or whatever. Now, how do you apply it to your work, your day-to-day industry life, right? Like, what do you bring to the table?
Yeah, right. Okay, thank you so much.
So my question is about, when you said that do not approach somebody with it sounding like I'm asking for a job, make it more like you're wanting to learn. And I do completely agree with you on this, don't get me wrong, but I'm just also thinking like, some people take on that approach, but they ultimately, after 2 to 3 questions, basically the conversation boils down to like, hey, can you refer me to this job? Do you think that eventually in the long run makes people a little skeptic and they start to like, every time they see an informational interview email, they start to interpret it as, oh, this person is asking for a job maybe. And does that deter people from responding back?
I think it does. That's happened with me a couple times where someone would just email me and say, "Hey, I see your company has this job open. Can you refer me?" And I'm like, "I don't even know you. How can I refer you?" Like, so it should almost be the conversation if there is a second conversation with this individual. So this person doesn't know you. This person cannot refer you because they have no clue who you are. And so even after two to three questions of talking to you, they still have no clue who you are. They can't vouch for you in their workplace, because you know what, if everything goes through, you get hired and you don't turn out to be a good candidate, guess who's going to look bad? The person who referred you. So they have a lot at stake when someone refers you. They're putting their name, they're putting their credibility at stake when you ask someone to refer you. So keep that in mind when you bring up that conversation. So I think it does deter people, absolutely, because they're like, I'm not gonna engage with this if that's all they want. So that's why I keep saying, right, like, take an educational approach. And if the conversation goes well and this person says, "Hey, is there anything else I can do to help you? You seem like a genuine person. What else can I do?" Ease into the conversation. Don't just say, "I saw this amazing role. Can you refer me?" Don't do that. Say, "Hey, there's this role that you have right now, that I'm sort of exploring." Don't say, "I'm looking to get that job." Say exploring, so it's a little gentle touch. I'm looking to explore, and I'm curious if you know anything about the job, or if you even know the hiring manager. And I don't know if you're open to it, but if possible, I'd love to, if there's an opportunity, I'd love to just connect, maybe if you can help connect me to the hiring manager. And if they're great friends with the hiring manager, they think you're a good candidate and you have the right skill set for the job, they might even help make that connection with the hiring manager as opposed to referring you, which is a much stronger push than doing a generic referral on a job on their career site. So that's how I would ease into it. But test the water, like, see where the conversation is going. Don't just jump into it. See where the conversation is going. Are you and this person, do you have a is the conversation strained? Is there a lot of pauses? Is there a lot of read the face, put on the video, like, read the faces, is this person enjoying the conversation? Is this someone that you feel can help you? Ask yourself those questions before diving in. And if you need time to answer those questions after your call, say, "Hey, would you be open to another call? I know we're out of time, but I would love to, like, have another maybe 15-20 minutes with you if you're open to it. And I'd love to ask you more about this job that I saw on your company site," whatever. And then visit it again. Don't be so hasty, because you might lose that relationship that you've built. I see two hands.
Yeah, that's a great point that you just made about opening up for another one. I think that's really helpful. Thank you.
Hi, Swati. I just want to extend Ayantika's question, and want to know, like, she asked about what kind of people to contact, right? So I want to know what levels to be contacted. Like, I can contact a specific person or a scientist at a senior level, or even a hiring manager. That's the first part of the question. And second part is how before, like, how much in advance should we contact a person specifically for a specific role? Because certain roles are advertised for the sake of it, and people are hired internally, while certain roles are actually for hiring people.
So I'll answer your second question first. All roles are for hiring people. So let's just get that straight. So if a job is posted, that means they have a head count that they're looking to hire into. They will look at all candidates. Usually an internal person is hired into a role is because that person is already doing that job right now. And they are trying to either manage the head counts from a financial standpoint, where they're consolidating internally to reduce the amount of spend. So sometimes that's what happens. It's not to say, "Oh, they're only going to take internal candidates." No, it's because that person's already doing the job. They trust this person. But legally, they have to put the job on a job board. That's just a legal kind of thing that they have to go through. So it's hard to tell whether that is the situation, or if they're externally looking for candidates. It's really hard to tell that just from a job description. You can't tell that. So, you know, apply regardless, right? Like regardless of the situation. If you are a candidate that has a good profile, you have a good resume, you know, the HR person sees your application, they may say, oh, damn it, like we just, you know, hired for this role, but we have this other role that we're looking for, and I have this person's resume. So don't let it discourage you. Like, what is the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is they just don't respond. That's it. Like, that's not bad. That's like, okay, fine, whatever. I did my job. I did my part. And if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. That's how I approach life. So definitely apply for the job. You know, you never know how that resume gets circulated internally, whether it's a big or a small organization, or if there's another job that they actually might reach out to you for. That's happened to me several times, where they're like, Swati, like you applied for this role, but we think you're going to be a great candidate for this role, and we'd love to talk to you about that. I'm like, great, let's just chat and let's see where that goes. So you never know how things work. So that's your second question. Your first question, which is about who to contact. It's, again, in organizations, it's really hard to tell, like the levels. It's really hard. Some organizations are pretty flat, like Google, for example, you know, very, very flat organization. Titles don't mean a lot. Of course, you have the leadership team, but at other organizations, there is a hierarchy, but titles don't really, in my experience, titles don't really tell exactly what a person's doing. You know, it's really hard to tell that. So if you can get anyone to talk to you from that, or if you're interested in Genentech, I'm just going to throw out an example. You're interested in learning more about Genentech. You contact a senior scientist, you know, you met them at a conference, you exchange cards and you have a nice conversation. You say, hey, you know, dude, like we chatted, we connected. I'm interested in this role. Is this something you can help me out with? They can help direct you to the right person, because you know what, they know more about their organization, right? And at least can help like pass on and help you navigate. So use these conferences that you guys have a chance to go to also network with industry. Go to the booth, like meet people, like talk to the people at the booth. Like you never know what works out from a work, you know, placement standpoint. So I hope that answered your question, but you can't tell what level someone is just by their LinkedIn profile. Sometimes it's hard.
Thank you for the advice. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, Nikhil.
First of all, thank you for the for sharing your experience. It was really enlightening. So I have to ask you something with a negative bias. So it's from a real experience. So one of my friend was actually having some informational interview with someone at a company. And when they met, like he responded very quickly, yeah, we can meet. But when they met, like the person from the company actually had a very negative thoughts about my friend who was having the interview with him. So he was always giving some negative opinions, like, why did you waste so much time doing a postdoc? If you're so interested in the industries, you could have made the transition way earlier. So let us say if things go south while having an interview, then how do you conclude it? And like, does it, do you already establish a bad relation with that company, or is it just an individual basis?
I think it's just an individual. So you never know how conversation's going to go with somebody, because you never met this person. Yeah. You have no clue. So the way that I approach such conversations is I call these difficult conversations, because it's hard to hear something negative about a choice that you've made, right? This person doesn't know why you made the choice to do a postdoc. You might have some personal reason that you had to go down that route. And that's okay. You know that. So you know, I think it's how you manage the conversation. You have to turn that negative into a positive. Right. I think that would be my advice. That's what I try to do when a conversation starts to get negative. And I'm like, yeah, you know, you're right. Like when I think about it, you know, it's just something I had to do. It was just family issues and I had to make the decision. But now I see that, you know, I think I've learned quite a bit, and I know now for sure that, you know, I definitely want to go to industry, having spent this additional time doing a postdoc. And now I feel like I've had a chance even to do some of these informational interviews with like people like yourself that have really helped me understand that I can actually do better in industry. So make it, give it back, turn it into a positive, say, you're absolutely right. You know, and I think this helped me. And as I think about my life and my decisions, yeah, this person doesn't need to know, right? Like, but be positive about it. You know, what they're saying is, I don't think they're trying to be negative. I think it's just how it's coming across. They're giving their opinions, and this person may perceive them as negative because this person's like, why is this person telling me, like, why did you do a postdoc? Like, you know, it's like someone coming and telling me, why did you do a PhD if you were going to get into industry anyway? I said, because I love biology. I wanted to study the field. It was my choice. You know, I wanted to go into research. That was where I wanted to go. I went to research. I did research. I have publications. I first authored publications. So don't tell me I haven't done anything in that field. And I talk in my head like that. But I'm like, yes, I've done my part, and now I've learned, and I feel like I can do much more. I want to be closer to patients. When I started my talk today, that's what I talked about. I was at the bench. I wanted to get closer to bedside. You can make that your story. It's not copyrighted. So take that story if you need to, you know, to turn that negative into a positive.
Yeah, that's a great response. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this was a wonderful session. We learned a lot from you, Swati. And I mean, I love Prince's question, and I think that kind of brought this thing a full circle. It's about what you said from the beginning: show gratitude, show respect, and continue that, whether the conversation goes your way or not. So I think that's a brilliant way. And I think that is something that will also stay in the mind of the person who's not being so nice to you. And maybe they'll change their mind about you. So yeah, I think it was a wonderful session. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that it would be all right if people write from the session, write to you on LinkedIn if we have any follow-up questions. We'll make sure that we follow your rules of conversation.
Rules of engagement.
No, I think it'll be a good practice, because we've interacted, so we have something in common. And then of course your time is important to us, and it's not our birthright to have it. So yeah, that would be a good way to practice as well.
No, it was a pleasure meeting you all. Viren, thank you for giving me an opportunity to meet everybody and sharing my learnings. I hope it was helpful as always. You know, thank you, Naren, for the role play. It reminded me of old times. But yeah, you know, absolutely. Feel free to reach out. I will do my best. Like I told Naren in the beginning, you know, I'm looking to travel a little bit outside on international waters. So please, mind you, I might be a little slow in getting back, but you know, I'm happy to help answer any questions or anything that you guys might have. So please feel free to reach out, but stay strong. Don't lose hope. You know, it is, you have to be patient in this process. Good things will come. Just stay patient. You know, it's COVID has just slowed down everything. So just stay patient with people, with your jobs and everything that you guys are doing out there. Just hang in there. That would be my last parting words. But thank you again for the opportunity. I really appreciate having to spend a nice evening with you all.